The short walk to the stage can be a time for artists to reflect, to remember the path it took to get here. It can be intoxicating. A quiet fills the room, and then that first note.
Take me somewhere slow, where the time don't go.
You may not know him yet, but if music matters to you, you should.
It's that like magical, unnameable thing that some artists have, and that's what Evan has.
Yeah.
I was gone all these years.
Born Evan Pang, he now performs under the name Aysanabee. His debut album featuring the single Nomads has caught fire, getting airtime on radio stations that haven't traditionally supported Indigenous artists. There's something about him that's captivating audiences. He played more than 100 shows last year, and even Europe has begun to take notice. But if this sounds like an overnight success story, it isn't. There were plenty of hurdles to overcome.
Were you up late last night?
I was up a bit late last night. Can you tell?
The year was 2020. Back then, he was still just Evan, and during the pandemic, he had a daily ritual, speaking with his grandfather, Watton. The Zoom calls to Watton's Thunder Bay care home would take Evan back in time.
He was my last, at the time, the last direct connection to like my our roots and where we come from and our family.
Evan started recording those phone calls to preserve his grandfather's stories. What he learned from Watton's dark memories of the residential school experience would stay with him. And through Watton's voice, he found his own, which he set to music.
Yeah, I was just actually listening, kind of noodling on the guitar when I was listening back to these recordings, just like, in that room over there, and just wrote a song and then wrote another song, and then I thought, like, this is how I can, like, save some of the story, and this is how I can, like, immortalize the story a little bit.
And the irony is that what ended up becoming your breakthrough is you stopped making music for other people, and you started making music that you wanted for yourself.
Yeah, when you're looking for something for a while, and then you stop looking for it, and suddenly it just kind of shows up, right?
So what kind of man would I be?
I didn't grow up in a traditional home. My grandparents were taken when they were kids and put into residential school.
Evan is Oji Cree from Sandy Lake First Nation. He moved off the reserve at age 3, and his mother gave him the last name Pang. It would just be easier, she believed, for him to have a non-Indigenous name. He discovered a passion for music, spending countless hours mastering the guitar.
The simplest things.
And as a teenager, moved into a house with other musicians. For a time, it was perfect. He worked during the day and played music at night, until the morning he went to make a cup of coffee and found someone in his kitchen smoking crack. Evan knew right then he had to find a different path. A young man in search of his identity and direction in life, Evan was working as a surveyor in the mining industry. He'd spend months in the bush hiking, often by himself. And then on a cold February day, everything changed.
It was just snowshoeing across the river, and like I just broke through the ice. I could just feel the river kind of pulling my legs. My snow pants were just filling up, and I have snowshoes on, so I know if like I go under, I can't even swim. I just remember like crawling across this and like one axe swing at a time, and like the ice kept breaking, and I was just like what am I doing with my life?
He survived, made a fire to dry off, and on his 13-kilometer walk back to camp, considered how to realize his dream of becoming a musician.
How long after that did you quit?
I had a plane ticket and I was gone in 3 months.
Toronto and all its promise beckoned. He was drawn to its lights and music scene. He saw an ad for the International Indigenous Music Summit, and while he wanted to play, he didn't want to pay the sign-up fee. But how about this oddity? He had $10 in a crypto exchange, and on a lark, invested it in a fledgling currency called, wait for it, Asscoin. Yeah, Asscoin. And guess what? It went up 2,800% that day.
I owe my whole career to Asscoin, yeah. No.
It's actually called Asscoin.
It's actually called Asscoin.
Evan, as you may have guessed, sold on the high and used the windfall to apply to the summit. Was it just good luck or fate?
You just heard the Asscoin
I
story.
just heard it.
You knew the Asscoin story.
I've known the Asscoin story, yes.
That's got to be the strangest story.
I mean, it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. This has all been begging to happen, is what I really think.
Yeah,
you know?
the universe.
And, yeah.
Amanda Rayom and Shoshona Kish founded the International Indigenous Music Summit 5 years ago to give exposure to undiscovered talent in their community. They get hundreds of fantastic submissions every year.
If you gonna take me home.
Evans was next level.
We both were just like,
Who is this?
whoa.
How have we never seen this or heard this before?
It just stopped us in our tracks.
Shoshona and Amanda had just launched Ishkade Records, the first female-owned Indigenous record label. They needed something great to get going, and out of nowhere came Evan.
Only got myself to blame.
He's tapping into something really powerful. Once in a while, there is just an energy around an artist, and it's just snowballed so quickly.
I mean, there are a lot of artists that do very well and they sort of stay within Canada. Do you see him, both shaking your heads? No.
Oh, yeah, no, he's... Yeah, it's going
He's
everywhere.
already,
Yeah.
Traveling around the world.
It's not a stretch to say both label and artist were looking for a match.
I feel like we're sort of being pulled down a path more than like designing it ourselves.
It's in my blood. It's in my blood.
The path has been undeniably rocky, but he found his voice. The one last thing he needed was to reclaim his identity.
When I was going to put out the record, I just thought I'd put it under Aysanabee. It's my grandfather's name, it's my family name.
This painting of his grandfather Wotton remains one of his most cherished possessions. It hangs in his home and graces the cover of his album. Their connection is undeniable, and now it's preserved in the music.
We were here in these fading memories, so we were here.
We made this beautiful record together, and I owe so much to him. Him being Wotton again, and me being Aysanabee, and finding ourselves in who we are. And it's like, wow, like our story doesn't just disappear now.
It's